Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Till now, we have been fed on a diet of certain ideas, certain concepts, which, if we look at them intimately, are not valid. One of the major ideas that has been told to us was sports are something to build the character of a person. It has nothing to do with economics. It has nothing to do with winning or losing. It has nothing to do with competition. The main thing is to bring the best in you. It's important to play, not to win. It's important to be a sportsman, which means do not indulge in any such activity which might even suggest monetary or economic gain. But that's no longer valid. Look at any of your favorite sport, and it's hard to miss the influence of economics. It's business, it's trade, it's a profession. And it starts very much right from the beginning, the way the players are picked and chosen, or how they are paid through the individual coaching decisions, and many times even strategic shifts across entire leagues. So what was the base of Olympics has been knocked out. I know the apologists would say, well, that was amateur business players. Now these are professional players. But then sports as sports have lost their aura of sanctity. They are a business profession and an important part of the economic life of the country, of any community, of any nation. And this has been particularly driven by the rise of the game theory in economics. Game theory uses mathematical models to figure out the optimal strategies for winning the game, such as the pitches that a baseball pitcher should throw, or whether the American football team should pass more. And when games and sports lend themselves to economics, and a game theory becomes important, so important that the player, coaches, and the agents act similar to hypothetical decision makers in economic models, then the very thought that sports are not connected with economics is far-fetched and has no validity. And today, as a result thereof, economics covers all parameters, all aspects of sports, and the economics of a professional sport is a major discipline. If you have seen or read Moneyball, you will understand how economics can be used to put together a team. This is the true story of Billy Beane, the former general manager of Oakland Athletic baseball team. Beane became famous for using economic ideas to identify undervalued players. He was picking up the raw material and he first tried to find where he could find those players who were not getting their value, give them a pittance more, and have a winning team. So baseball scouts and agents have often focused on unimportant factors. And what are those uneconomic factors? How hard someone would hit a ball. But the Billy Beane used advanced statistics. I must say, I was really amazed that he used statistical models to identify players. And those players who had been undervalued by the competitors and played them in a way to make best use of their strength. He built individual strengths, not a team, individual players. So again, the major aspect of games has been a team spirit. But Billy Bean was very, very shrewd enough, I would call him not cunning, but very shrewd, to build the basic strength of each player, build them up as a team. Strength of all combined is the strength of a team. And in that case, he has to sacrifice the weakness of one. He won't bat an eyelid. Same happened in basketball. Robert Tollison is largely behind the explosion of three-point shooting in the National Basketball Association. He conducted and hired professional researchers and identified, even though three-pointers were less accurate than other shots, over the course of a game and season, it makes sense to take three-pointers. So till now, all those managers had been doing was, don't take three-point shooting. He said, no, why not? Others don't have it. Others are negating it. So let me use the so-called weakness as a source of strength. And then how did he do it? Through research, using statistical models. He found that in statistical model, the overuse of a supposed weakness can be successful. The concept of large volume, low profit. In some cases, economists were hired to solve specific problems, and they are being hired today. EFL was worried about the tanking. Tanking was a part where the players would purposely lose. And so to get a favorable draft picks, they started to face the tanking problem, and that was done with the help of economists. And what did the AFL do? Now, they went to Melbourne University and asked the professor of economics, Professor Jeff Boland, to come up with a objective measure to measure the club performance. Now, how do you measure it? It was based on the team performance, win and lose ratios, previous final appearances, and injuries. So each parameter was graded, put into the statistical model, and a very objective, unbiased, honest measure of the performance was there. And this evaluation, conducted by economics professor Jeff Boland, was used by AFL to solve their problem of tanking. Now, if that is not business, if that's not economics, what else is it? And then what happened? The result. The academics got into sports. That was gate crashing by economists and academics. They thought, wow, we have not taken this aspect as a part of education. We were always thinking that it has nothing to do with academics, it's for the moral building, it's for the hobbies, it's for the playing, everything except a set curriculum, a set method based on economy. So this became a major parameter. And then teams and leagues started thinking of incentives. Incentives were to implement the economic ideals. And that is basically the financial strength of USA. American football Super Bowl attracts only in USA approximately 111 million viewers. So why not make use of it? In Australia, for example, the broadcast rights for AFL and NRL are around Australian dollars 2 billion. One, and this does not count the merchandise that can be sold to the fans. So they broadcast it, they have right to the brand, they have right to the image, and they sell it to brands, to the products and the goods, and even services. But then there was another thing which people didn't imagine at that time. Economists, academic economists, are often driven by something more, which boosts their sense of challenge. And that was analyzing sports can shed light on the fundamental economic questions, particularly the impact on incentives, labor market discrimination, on race and gender lines and competition. Now, gender discrimination, anti-diversity discrimination, competition, labor market discrimination, they are socio-economic concepts. And then they became a part of the study of the economists as far as the games and sports are concerned. See how a simple sport was expanding into a big business, and that business had to be treated on the economic lines. For instance, discrimination against non-white athletes like Hank Aaron and Major League Baseball led to an interesting research. And the research was economics of discrimination in workplace. If there was economics of discrimination in sports, it was transported to the workplace and a comparative analysis was done. Here was a ready-made model. So why not adopt it and find out the reality? Similarly, the rapidly increasing English player salaries in the English Premier League led to analysis of winner-takes-all market. The concept of winner-takes market was based on astronomical salaries that were paid to the players. It also led to other sport leagues to implement salary caps and restrictions on the draft. So, people are always saying, well, the CEOs of companies earn in 6 hours what an ordinary worker would earn in 1 year. But they were not thinking that a player in 1 season would earn more than a CEO would earn in 10 years. This was a paradox, and this was revealed on the basis of economics. So the winner-takes-all concept led to implementation of salary caps, but then the other ways were found to pay to the players. So essentially, economics of sports is not just for the economics, academics, players, leagues, teams. There have been a lot of writing and publishing. Another economic parameter based on sports. A few popular books have been there. They explain how the fans can get onto the movement. I was interested in reading a book, and when I read it, I was really amazed. Soccer Economics. Soccer Economics is by Simon Cooper and Stephen Szymanski. This book applies statistics, economics, psychology, and game theory to popular questions about the games. Now, see how the multidisciplinary approach is there, obliterating the boundaries of disciplines. There's economics, there's statistics, there's psychology, and there's game theory. And then that is what enables them to determine. Now, what country likes soccer more? Norway. Which country performed better in the World Cup than they should have? They did not perform. Which was there? England. So there's another book, I was reading, How Soccer Explains the World by Franklin Foy. What he does is he uses soccer to explain the topics as diverse as globalization, oligarchy, and anti-Semitism. politics, economics, and political science. They are explained in one book based on soccer. Can you imagine the extent and the depth and the pervasive impact of the games? Then, I read another book, The Glory of Their Times by Lawrence Ritter. This is a historical book, talks about the early days of the Major League Baseball. And there's no better book on sociology of business and labor markets of the US in early 20s. Imagine you are playing and that enables you to understand the labor market and sociology of business. So the growth in sports economics is continuing. Data gets better, teams compete for strategic end, and in economic terms, the global sports industry is more than a game. This is something which is in fact a game changer. And it opens new vistas. A, for the economists, B, for the sociologists, C, for the career-minded young people. It's not only brawn, the muscle which helps you, it's the brain also which enables you to become a better sportsman and earn while you can. Make hay while the sun shines. The economics of sports are the economy of a country, of a nation. And it leads to what I always say, a multidisciplinary, interconnected human approach for the better economy, for better understanding of the cultural issues, better understanding of the gender issues, socio-economic issues, and historico-economic issues. This is something which is really a game changer. So the games have become the game changers. Thank you.